half on a sack.
You know, Ray, I've been so bored lately. All these new games coming out kind of suck.
Well, Ty, have I told you about my idea for a video game?
No. What's your idea?
Okay, so you know how like we smoke weed to get high?
Yeah.
And weed is a living thing, right?
Right.
So there's like aliens that come down and abduct people, right?
Well, we don't really have solid evidence for that.
Oh, okay, but like, what if aliens were coming down and abducting people to smoke us? What if we were the drugs?
Bro.
Right?
Well, hang on, Ray. I think they've already done that. Have you heard of the game High on Life?
Yeah, I beat it. Why? What's that got to do with anything?
High on Life is a game named after an experience none of us will ever have. No, that's too depressing. Hang on. High on Life is another Justin Roiland production that he and his friends think is fucking hilarious. Okay, it is pretty funny though. High on Life. Will it leave you tripping balls or just puking your guts out? A little of both, really. Let's get into it. Just in case, if you're unfamiliar with Justin Roiland, he is co-creator of Rick and Morty, a cartoon series on Adult Swim featuring an alcoholic scientific genius grandfather who takes his grandson on wacky adventures through the cosmos. The humor and themes of the show are often dark, nihilistic, and some might even say mean-spirited. Grandpa Rick often acts selfishly and cynically while dragging Morty around as an extra set of hands, steadily eroding the wonderment in the universe his grandson has. The dialogue is laden with vulgarity, with the two main characters ribbing each other constantly in what seems like improv a lot of the time. Rick and Morty won the Primetime Emmy Award for Outstanding Animated Program in 2018 and 2020. It's now a billion-dollar media franchise and has had a relatively quick explosion in popularity, rarely seen with other animated series. With that out of the way, let's move on to High on Life. In 2019, developers Squanch Games and Justin Roiland began work on their fourth game just after the release of Trover Saves the Universe. Roiland creatively directed, while Squanch either tempered his expectations or worked hard to realize his ideas. Being that this isn't a big studio production bogged down by excessive shareholder or marketing team hijinks, the creative vision for High on Life seems to have been kept relatively intact. Oh yeah, and the guys from Red Letter Media are in it.
They're never gonna stop!
Endless trash!
Now he's called Philip C. Les Hoffman. 'Cause he's dead.
Dumb backstory, it doesn't
No,
matter.
Jay, let's spice it up. Let's
Okay.
really shake up this film series. Old Lady in the Wall. What?
If you like movies at all, just do yourself a favor and go subscribe to their channel. They recorded a commentary track for the full film Demon Wind in an unlockable movie theater in-game. On December 12th, 2022, the game released on Xbox One, Series X and S, and PC to lukewarm reactions. To find out why, let's dig a little deeper, starting with the story. The plot is fairly straightforward, so there's nothing to spoil really, but here's the time code if you want to skip the synopsis. High on Life opens on you playing an FPS when your sister Lizzie walks in chastising you for hiding in your room while your parents left for a trip. She then presents you with a couple lines of coke on a compact that allows you to select your appearance.
What is wrong with your face?
Oh my God! What's wrong with your face?
Your mother has left a note on the fridge asking you to get your shit together, comparing you to your bright-futured sister who has been accepted into, quote, 3 great schools. Hey, fuck you, Mom. Maybe I'm a late bloomer, okay? After heading outside to grab party supplies with your sister for the evening, a foreign spacecraft warps into the cul-de-sac, carrying an intimidating group of aliens. The largest one snatches a neighbor of yours, shoves him into one of his tentacles, and proceeds to smoke him. The group departs departs after shooting one of their own, leaving behind a smaller alien on the body. Kenny, of an alien race named the Gatlians, informs you of the G3 cartel's plan to turn the human race into drugs, just as the invasion begins. The two of you blast your way to one of the bases and steal their warp drive, so you can all warp off Earth and escape to safety. You then find yourself in Blim City on a foreign planet in search of an alien named Gene Saruthian, a famous bounty hunter in this society. Gene is found on a bench in the street, having just been evicted, but offers you his old bounty hunting suit in exchange for your house in the event that you die.
Ooh, oops, sorry about all those pop-ups. I forgot to warn you about that. You can close them with the interact button, but they are gonna keep coming back nonstop. That's just gonna keep happening until you activate the license. Sorry, you better hurry up.
After you've purchased the activation license from the local pawn shop, Gene is found in your house arguing with your sister. He has built a Bounty 5000 teleportation unit in the living room. In the slums of Blim City, you acquire a psychotic sentient knife named Knifey and kill your first bounty, Ninetor, a small-time praying mantis-looking gangster with the G3. After receiving the reward and upgrading your suit, Gene provides you with bounties for two more G3 members named Krubis and Douglas. Krubis is in possession of another Gatlian named Gus the Shotgun, and Douglas has Sweezy the very original gun that fires exploding purple crystals. By killing Krubis, you free the native species the Moplets, which resemble some other trademarked race of teddy bears that I can't quite put my finger on. On your way to your fourth bounty of the Screndel brothers, you pick up Creature, a Gatlian whose primary attack shoots his children out of his ass to attack your enemies. You kill the Screndels, all the while rescuing groups of captured humans, sending them to a human haven, where they all just sort of hang out in some kind of waiting room.
I'm depressed. But it's not because of this place. I was already depressed on Earth, too.
G3 cartel head Garmantuous appears on a screen, telling you he's imprisoned the two most important people in your life. Magistrate of Blim City Clug Nugman asks you to take care of his political adversary and your next G3 bounty, Dr. John Giblets. Upon your arrival at Giblets' base, he accidentally kills himself. While leaving, you find your final Gatlian friend, Les Duet, who is unfortunately in a state of disrepair. Gene promises to fix up Les Duet and find you more information on your next bounty, Nipulon, who is in possession of the coordinates to Earth. You need those coordinates so you can warp your way to final boss Garmantuous and save the planet. Kenny takes you on a mandate to Space Applebee's, where he reveals he inadvertently caused the destruction of his and your fellow Gatlian friend's home planet. After summoning the courage to tell his fellow Gatlians the horrifying truth, all except Creature now hate Kenny. Despite this, you all come together as a team to defeat Nipulon and finally Garmantuous with the help of your new gun, Les Duet. The end. Okay, so it's not a totally comprehensive story summary, but the side story of Lizzie and her boyfriend Tweak doesn't really affect anything. Neither does the Jack Black and Susan Sarandon thing, where Garmantuous tries to ransom the two of them in an effort to get you to sell out the human race. You're led to believe that these two, quote, very important people in your life are your parents, so it's just a joke with a really long setup.
Are those your parents?
Parents? What the fuck are you talking about?
I don't think the bounty hunter even knows these people.
Yeah, we don't.
But it's so nice to meet you.
So what? You don't love these two? Because every human I asked said they loved them.
Well, yeah, everyone loves us.
Okay, let's talk graphics. The art style has been described by the developers as if Jim Henson made Blade Runner. It's a very colorful, cartoonish, and good-looking graphical theme that gives us some wonderful landscapes and interiors. These environments look really, really good. The shadows, lighting, and reflections all have that AAA sheen. Character designs do a great job of reflecting their personalities, with Kenny's antennae twitching when he's nervous, Sweezy's needles creating a pink mohawk indicating her aggressiveness, and so on. These little creative touches make for expressive, dynamic feeling characters. The facial animations are all well done, which through making these videos I've learned is a particularly difficult thing to do. Zooming in on any given character's skin textures reveals almost uncomfortably minute levels of detail. This is kind of in line with a lot of the gross out humor the game seems to rely so heavily on. For example, you need to cover yourself in goop at a couple points in the story to conceal your identity, which is just another alien's shit. You're covered in shit for a decent amount of time in this game. This being a Roiland project, it goes without saying, disgusting and disturbing things are happening often. If you're an achievement hunter, just get the gallon of alien cum. Yeah, don't ask. There were only a few visual bugs that came up for me on PC that I'm sure will be patched out soon, so no worries there. On to gameplay. The tutorial is one of the best I've ever seen. It's a game within a game that would probably be awesome in its own right as a full release.
That's what I'm talking about, Buck. Kill those fuckers. You're the man. I love you, Buck. You're so fucking cool. Oh, I'm so excited and lit up to be your divorce attorney. You have no idea. You're my favorite client.
As a shooter, High on Life works really well. There's only a selection of 5 guns and a knife, but they all have a variety of unique functions. Each gun's alternate fire, or trick hole, provides offensive abilities as well as traversal tools. Kenny's glob shot raises and lowers platforms. Gus fires climbable saw blades. Sweezy creates time bubbles. Creature's children crawl through pipes to unlock doors and mind control enemies. And Let's Do It is, well, let's do it.
Let's do it!
The only complaint I have with Let's Do It is that you get him too late in the game. He's the BFG of High on Life, and the more recent Doom games have given you the BFG roughly halfway through the stories, giving you plenty of time to play with it. Let's Do It is fun to use, so it would have been nice to get him a bit earlier in the campaign. Once you've gotten all the Gatlians and suit upgrades, you'll need to do some significant backtracking if you want to open all the well-hidden glow boxes throughout the levels, some of which contain trading cards for you to collect. Areas that are inaccessible to you the first go-around are a constant. Swinging or flying around the map feels loose enough to be fun, while being tight enough for you to make precise landings. Combat slowly evolves as you progress through the campaign, introducing more difficult enemy types as your arsenal increases. You lose health pretty quickly on normal difficulty, so staying on your toes in battle is a must. Enemies drop shield recharges upon death, making aggression the best tactic. After a couple of hours, though, the combat goes a bit stale. Even though the roster of bad guys changes, there's not a whole lot of thought going into how to take them on. Just shoot them with whatever until they die. All of the guns work equally well across the board, so the tension just isn't there. Upgrading your bounty hunter suit eventually allows for power slides and jetpacking, further improving mobility and allowing access to some of those previously out of reach areas. The guns themselves have a decent amount of upgrades available to buy as well. In addition to the Red Letter Media Theater, there are some fun little side excursions, like a skate park for you to beat the high score in, and a tiny city you can destroy. Enemy bases contain warp crystals you can trade in for warp discs that lead to these bonus levels. Just make sure you collect those as you go, because I kept forgetting to grab them, leading me to have to backtrack even more. With a soundtrack by electronic musician Tobacco, we get a whimsically retro synthesized score that partly evokes the mystery of Stranger Things, along with the understated bliss of Scottish electronic group Boards of Canada. It works well in and out of combat, subtly egging you on to the next task while allowing you to take in the scenery. The dialogue is mostly scripted, partly ad-libbed, by seasoned comedians like Laura Silverman, Tim Robinson, J.B. Smoove, and Roiland himself. It's very much a Justin Roiland joint, with a trademark stuttering, incomplete sentence-laden light delivery.
Hey, you know, that was some pretty solid bounty hunting back there. I mean, don't get too cocky about it or anything, but it was pretty cool.
Hey, what's up, Lordo? You know anything about where we could find a guy named Dr. Giblets?
Okay, shit, not so good. It looks like we've hit a dead end. So let's get the fuck out of here and just give up on being detectives. It's all done now.
This isn't bad voice acting, it's just kind of the style. It was a little jarring when I realized most of the NPCs don't have idle conversations, so they're all just kind of standing around staring at each other. Maybe they're all just really high and are falling into their own introspective nightmares at the same time. The main characters, on the other hand, have the opposite problem. Sometimes the dialogue will just drag on and on and on. At one point, you, Lizzie, and Jean are having a conversation in the living room that goes on for 3.5 minutes that you can't even skip because you have to pick from the dialogue trees. It doesn't even advance the plot either, it's just an argument about Tweed. The sound effects of your guns work surprisingly well. I was hesitant to play this when I learned you fire goo and stuff instead of bullets, but I have no complaints. As an FPS fan, I tend to lean more towards things that go boom rather than laser guns or slime cannons. To each their own though. So that's High on Life. It's an entertaining shooter that is a constant stream of joy and irritation to play. $60 might be pushing it a bit for a price point. $40 would be more on the mark, but there's big names on the cast list, so that's probably where most of the production money went. Then again, they must have gotten a sizable check from Applebee's. It's a short 8 to 9 hour campaign with, in my opinion, not a whole lot of replayability, and this game probably won't be appealing if the humor of Rick and Morty doesn't land for you. If it does, then High on Life is right up your alley. For these reasons, perhaps, the game wasn't received that well. Critically, at least. So folks, today's lesson is don't do... what was it? Don't do... shrugs? Wait, what was I even talking about? Well, kiddos, that about wraps it up for this one. Stay excellent, and have a great evening. And don't do drugs. None of them. Except for marijuana.